Hello and welcome to today's tropical update for Sunday, August 28th, 2022. As you can see here at the National Hurricane Center 5-day graphical tropical weather outlook, we have four systems on the screen. We have three low chance systems, one down here in the Caribbean, Northwest Caribbean Sea, that the GFS model does want to do something with that in the Gulf of Mexico, and it's been very persistent on that. And the latest run does take it into Texas. Other models want to do nothing with it. Then you have an area of disturbed weather here, well east of Bermuda. Then you have waves that came off of Africa. Then you have a code red, 70% chance of cyclone formation in the next 5 days here in the central Atlantic, where we have a broad area of low pressure. That's the one that we're mainly focused on in this video, because it could potentially pose a threat to land as time goes on. Here's the current system right here. As you can see, it's very disorganized, but it is a rather large wave, so it is something we're going to have to watch. And if you look above it, it looks like there's that other weak system up here that's not really doing much. And then here's the other system that came off the Africa. It's a rather large system. Looks like there's maybe a front trying to drape south of it. And let's go over to the GFS, shall we? So here's the system we are watching right here. It shows a 1010 millibar low at the beginning of the run. Starts to move west, slowly organizes, and now we're here on Tuesday. And by Tuesday, according to GFS, it could start to become maybe a tropical depression, but it's really Wednesday night into Thursday where it would probably become a tropical storm, according to the GFS. Here you go. And now we're coming into Thursday, and look at that. Starting to be a little bit more in the way of convection. Here's that other system in the Gulf, and here's the system behind it. The GFS actually wants to develop that system behind it. We'll see what happens here. I don't agree with it with the system that's going to head into the Gulf, just because it has no other model support. Not saying it can't happen, but the support for that is limited right now. Continuing on here. It looks like maybe there's a little bit of convected feedback on the GFS. It's showing the convection being on the north side, the low being well south of it. Hard to say, but as we come into Friday, it starts getting organized. And by this point, here's Puerto Rico, north of the Virgin Islands and everything, it starts to become a stronger tropical system. And at this point on Saturday, it is now probably a minor or weak hurricane. And after that, as we get into Sunday, it's at least a Category 1, Category 2 hurricane, but watch what happens here. It starts to slow down as it comes to the Bahamas. Here's that Gulf system that I don't really buy into on the GFS. And now we're going to switch to the southeast view. Check this out. And here you go. At this point, we have a relatively strong hurricane well east of Florida. Not moving all that fast. It starts to turn north-northeast, but watch what happens here. Almost does like a loop. Then it turns back northwest, and watch, it will head over to South Carolina on this particular run. If you look at the other models, let's switch over to the European. We want the 12Z run. We'll switch back to the Atlantic view. The 12Z European does something a little bit different, but again, it still forms this storm. Here it is right here. Watch, we're going to advance this in time. Moves relatively slow on the European, and then it gets south or east of Florida, and here we are 995 millibar low, so that's a strong Category 1 at that point. Then it gets stronger. Now you're talking about a Category 2 at 984, and it even gets down to a moderate Category 3, which would be a major hurricane, but it does not hit land unlike the other models. In fact, the Euro is much slower with it. As you can see here, east of Florida, it essentially stalls out. So where it would go next remains clear, and the main point I want to stress here is this is now our 240. This is not Wednesday of this week. This is Wednesday of the following week. So we are pretty far out in time with this system. The reason why I'm doing this video is if you live anywhere between Florida and, say, even Maine, I would start preparing. And who's to say this can't go into the Gulf of Mexico? The chances are low, nothing's showing it, but the possibility is there. Let's take a look at one of the ensembles. I want to show you the European ensemble prediction system. So here's our area of disturbed weather, and watch what happens as it goes west. You'll see there are a wide array of tracks. They all agree on this, essentially going north of Puerto Rico. There's one or two here out of the 50 European members that try to hit Puerto Rico, but the general consensus is it stays north. After that, this is 162 hours out. This is essentially next Sunday. Now you're starting to see a little bit more difference in the model here. And you're continuing to see more difference. There's still a strong cluster that follows the operational, but now you're starting to see some turn and going out to sea. You're seeing some that get really close to Florida, like this bunch right here. And watch what happens here. We get up to 240 hours, and it just goes all over the place. And many of them do tend to stall the system. As you can see here, there's a whole bunch that are slow with the system, where almost at 300 hours, the system is still about 300 miles off the east coast. There's a whole bunch that go out to sea, so it's not really a general consensus. And the ones that stall, look here. Here's a 959. There's 957. And look where that one goes. It goes right over here into the east coast. So the point here is, the east coast is not out of the woods. The majority of the models are saying it's going to stay east, but here's the deal. If this system organizes quickly, and I'll show you, here's the current system again. If this gets to north of the Virgin Islands and Puerto Rico, and it's already a hurricane, if it's that strong, it's going to stay stronger and more west. And as you can see here, there is a little bit of wind shear at the time, but the models are suggesting once it gets over here to by the Bahamas and north of Cuba, north of all the islands here, Haiti, once it gets north of there, the wind shear is going to relax. And it's also a fairly moist setup. As you can see here, it's dry there for now, but look at that. The moisture is starting to increase. So the environment is there for this to develop over time. The next few days, it's going to remain disorganized. But once we get into Thursday and on, we have to start watching. It'll probably be a named system no later than Friday. At least a minimal tropical storm. And what it does after the Bahamas remains to be seen. Keep checking back for more of these videos in the next couple days. We're going to be following this. And we're going to be following this other threat into the Gulf. Now, if you noticed on the European ensemble, let's rewind this. Here's where GFS has that Gulf system. European doesn't do anything with that. Here's the system behind it. European says, yeah, that could form. So I think what the deal is, by next weekend, we're going to have at least 2 named systems to watch, with the main one being the one that's going to be north of Puerto Rico, and at this point next weekend, it will be approaching the Bahamas. So we have all week to watch this. The models are obviously going to change, and once it gets into range for Reckon to go and fly into it, we will have fresh data put into the models. And remember, once a system becomes a formed tropical system with a low-level circulation, that's when the models get a better handle. Right now, it's a disorganized mess. It's going to throw the models all over the place. So we're likely to see a major change, whether it be further east or further west. That remains to be seen. Check back. We're going to be doing tropical update videos all week long following this threat. Thanks for watching, and remember to hit like and subscribe down below if you want to see more videos like this.